What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Silver and Black Allegiance, the Raiders show, the one and only Raiders show you should be watching. I'm Joe Morley. This is Juan from the Max and Juancast. Juan, what's going on?
What's going on, Joe? Another day, another Raider week. I'm so glad the preseason is over, but like always, can't start the show without that fire intro.
That's right. That's right. Raider Nation. Okay. let me pull this. Let me pull this up first, and then we'll get into it. This is our latest news and notes from the Raiders right now. Raiders dropped final preseason game to the 49ers. We know that. We saw that. What you just heard in our entrance was you heard the touchdown Raider part, right? Everybody heard that. That part hurt me on Sunday against the 49ers. Hearing him say touchdown San Francisco was horrible. It was bad. I didn't like that. Raiders also had their cut down to the 53-man roster. So we'll talk about we'll get into the cuts in a few minutes. And Mark Davis getting a new mansion. If you haven't seen that, we will get into it. Juan, your thoughts on this Raider 49ers? We won't break it down too quick because it's pretty sad that the 49ers had to start like they've treated this like it was a regular game and they wanted to come out and try to win something for the Bay Area, I guess. Is that what it was? They wanted to battle the Bay. They brought their first stringers against our second stringers, our third stringers, some guys that aren't even going to make the team. So we're not going to go and deep down into this 49er game, but your quick thoughts on it.
Sorry, Joe, my camera's like glitching out right now, but I'll still talk like this for now until I figure it out. But man, the 49ers acting like it was the damn Super Bowl out there. It was the preseason game 3, played Nate Peterman again, all the third stringers. It didn't mean nothing, man. The Raiders even kept guys from even traveling. Like, that's how much, like, Gruden was like, I'm not going to mess with it. Plus, their quarterback got hurt. So, it's like, that's what you get for playing your first stringers in the game 3.
Yeah. It's like you brought out everybody. You're running their main plays. I don't know what you had to gain from it, but good for you, 49ers. Good for you. The Raiders had final roster cuts that they need to look at, and we'll get to in a minute. But first, Juan, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you have seen this, but it just came out. Mark Davis is getting a brand new mansion, right? So, hey, money must be nice in Vegas. He must, and maybe he'll fix his haircut, but this looks better than his hair right now. This is Mark Davis's supposedly brand new mansion, or what they're planning on building for him. Have you seen this?
This is literally breaking news because it came out a couple hours ago, but this shit is crazy, man. Mark Davis, started from the bottom, now we're here. This dude was getting bowl haircuts and riding around in the same beat up van. Now this man is going to live in a silver and black mansion. That shit looks fly to me, to be honest.
Do you think he would have this mansion in Oakland?
No fucking way. Where is he going to have it? In East Oakland? That's just going to get robbed. Like, come on.
Mark Davis taking himself to Las Vegas, and look at this, guys. Look at this mansion. Like, can you see? Look. If you look straight, you see the Raider logo through the windows, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. Straight to the middle. Yeah. Then you have the pool, and you have a bunch of fountains around it. So, like, I don't know. How many parties do you think is going to happen right there? on that little patio area. Who you think some of the alumni will be there? Any big name Raiders right there?
I mean, yeah, most definitely. That's where all the parties are gonna go on at, and I can already imagine if we win the Super Bowl, that's where the party's gonna be after when they get home.
Everybody to Mark Davis's house. Haircuts on him in room number 1, and swimming pool on deck after that. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. I'll hopefully get an invite. Mark Davis, do you want me to come over? I won't make fun of your house no more. I'll just go there. We'll have a good time. But what do you think it is? I like that top room. Is that the master room? What the hell? I would love to see it.
That's where he's gonna get his hair cut at. That's the exact room where he's gonna just get his bowl cut at.
He sits there, gets the bowl cut, watching everybody else swim. I can't, like, we're sitting here making fun of him. Like, my house would probably fit like in one of the fountains right there. Like,
I mean, it's great to see though. To be honest, on a real like aspect of it, it's great to see him doing really good, because all the reports that you heard from Mark Davis is like he's poor, he's this, he's that, he's one of the poorest owners. And I mean, compared to regular civilization, he's rich, but as far as like compared to the other owners, of course, this is great to see, man. Vegas was a great move for Mark Davis and the Raiders. It's so obvious.
yeah, you think he has a torch right there too? Like,
oh, goodness.
speaking about torches and flames and all that, this season could be hot seat season, right? For the Raiders, for John Gruden, for Mike Mayock. The Raiders have started really well the last 2 seasons. John Gruden has finally, after this is going to be his 4th season, right? Has finally got what? I think there's only like 2 people on the roster now that have been there since before him and Mayock have been there. So they finally got their players on our roster. Their players. So now there should be no more excuses, right? This should be one of the I understand. You and I have talked about it, and we'll break it down next week with the schedule. Tough schedule. Is this the hot seat season for John Gruden and Mike Mayock?
Well, look, I was talking about it with Max last night, my co-host, and it was an interesting topic because I think on the John Gruden side of things, it's going to be very tough for him to get canned. The Raiders and Mark Davis have invested so much money into Gruden, and he has so much pull and power within the organization that it'll have to be a catastrophic season for him to get fired, in my opinion. But that guy on the right, Mike Mayock, I don't know how much longer he has. And if these guys don't wind up panning out, because we all know on the defensive side, it's all guys that he's been drafting. The John Abrams, the Damon Arnett's, all those type of dudes. If they don't wind up stepping up, you have to point the finger at Mike Mayock and saying, like, dude, come on. It's one thing to miss on Clem Farrell, but at this point, you're not hitting anything in probably like the first 3 rounds, it seems like. Like, yeah, that's cool. You hit like the Hunter Renfro's here and there, but it becomes a point where it's a problem if you're not hitting on those first round draft picks. Like, it was huge for us. We had damn 4 of them in 2 years. And it seems like only one of them is going to pan out in Josh Jacobs. So I think definitely Mike Mayock, man, hot seat. That it has to be very high.
I agree with you, and Fel K is in here saying that you're speaking facts. I agree with you. It's more of a hot seat for Mayock in the front office wise, right? Because and John Gruden and his long-term contract that we always hear about, and nobody's ever really came out and said it or shown it, but we all know he had a big deal, and he had to have a big deal to come out. And John Gruden and Mark Davis. Mark Davis is in love with John Gruden, like in love with John Gruden, so much that he believes John Gruden took him to the promised land, and he remembers that from when he was younger with his dad and all that. So John Gruden gets more of a pass than Mike Mayock does. But I have to okay. maybe John Gruden won't take the heat from the front office, from Mark Davis.
Yeah.
But if the Raiders do what they've done the last 2 years and get out to and have a great start, or they go 7
4.
and 10 this year, they lose more games, more than 8 games. If they lose more than 8 games, the Raider fans will turn the heat up. The Raider fans will go off on John Gruden.
Yeah, I mean, the Raider fans are already going off on John Gruden. I give him a little bit more leeway because he's been doing his job as far as like offensive wise. On the offensive side, we've been getting better every year. And I mean, bold prediction just right now, newsflash, the Raiders are going to have a top 10 offense. I'm saying that right now. I think we have way too many weapons for it not to be a top 10 offense. And Gruden has been doing his job. It's been more of like the other stuff. Hiring Mike Mayock, not getting the right defensive coordinator, like sticking with Paul Gunther for too long. But as far as the offensive side, that's a good thing. Like he's doing his job on that side.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you this, Joe. What's the number of wins that it takes for Gruden to get fired? Like I was saying last night that I think if they only win 2 games, I think there's a possibility he can get fired.
To be honest with you, I think we're looking at if he wins anything under 6 wins this year, he could be fired.
Really?
I would say 6 and up keeps him in the door with Mark Davis, because then he can make some excuses up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we had an injury here or there. We had this guy. But if it's like 5 wins or 4 wins or 3 or 2 or whatever it is, there's no excuses. You get the hell on out. And I don't know. I remember John Gruden, and I remember that when he first brought the Raiders to, and did all that stuff in early 1998 through 2002. I remember him. But when they hired him, I was kind of like, I kind of felt like, we'll see, because he was out of football for a while. I understand what you're doing. The offense, yes. I said that last year. I said Raiders going to have a top 10 offense. People looked at me and laughed at me. They finished number 11 last year. And that was without wide receivers. Wide receivers.
Bunch of injuries.
A bunch of injuries, too. A bunch of linemen that didn't want to play for us. And now I think that – and it's funny because I think the Raiders are improved this year. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes when we look at the depth chart and the cups and stuff. So if I'm feeling that the Raiders are improved, I want a better improvement from last year, right? And I'm a big guy in saying, like, I don't believe a lot in wins and losses like that show it, because you can lose some games. What's up, Shakeback Media? We can lose some games that are just not our fault, or we know you get unlucky sometimes. But I want to see them be competitive, because I'm sure you and Shakeback and every other Raider fan out here, we've watched so many games where the Raiders just get blown out, and you're like, hell no. So if we're competitive and we're in a lot of games and we lose them, and they're 1 possession games that go either way, I'm okay with that.
I'm already mentally preparing myself for when we're 7-3 or 7-4, and we have the first 10 a.m. Kickoff, traveling to New York or something, and we get our ass kicked. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of going on the East Coast, waking up at 10 a.m. to watch the Raiders get their ass kicked. They can't happen this year.
Like last year, the Raiders won that Jets game, but they're like, I was so pissed off. Like here we go. We're going to lose to the damn Jets now. And they throw that long pass. It happened.
I mean, 2 years in a row, though. The year before this was the Jets when we got our ass kicked by Sam Darnold. And then last year, it was the Falcons game. That it was terrible to watch. And it happened in like kind of like the same similar weeks and same situation where the Raiders were on fire and they were looking good. And that's when they're like, Raiders making the playoffs? And then that shit happens.
Yep. Well, one of the worst quarterbacks I hate, the worst quarterbacks I always make fun of, is Nick Foles. And I have to live with the fact that Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns against us.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Quick little backstory on that game. I specifically remember watching that game and I was so hyped. And at the time, going into that week, the Raiders had a top 10 defense. So I was yelling out to Philly fans, like, we got a top 10 defense. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Like, F the Eagles. And sure enough, LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, 7 touchdowns. I got shut down, bro.
They're like, oh yeah, there's your top 10 defense.
I know, right, yep. That shit dropped all the way to like 20-second defense.
All right, so we're saying Mayock's seat is hotter. Mayock's seat is hotter than John Gruden's, but John Gruden can be on the hot seat if they don't win enough games. But we're talking enough games like you're saying all he has to do is win 3 and he's fine. I'm saying he has to win 6 or more.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of variables into it. Injuries, how does it look? Like, everything has to have context in it. But if everyone's healthy and nothing like really catastrophic happens as far as injury wise, you have to look at it from being a perspective of firing them.
Yeah, and Willie just brought up some bad memories too, and he brought up the Atlanta game. Yes. Yeah, and those are the games that we're talking about. Like, people were talking about the Raiders the last 2 years. Like, here they come, here come the Raiders. Can they make a difference? They knocked out the Chiefs last year, and people were like, oh dang. And then, like you said, thanks, Willie, for bringing that up and making us relive it right here on the air. The Atlanta game where they just, it's horrible. But John Gruden will be back no matter what, as long as he doesn't come out and pull a Bill Callahan and say, I got to be the dumbest team in America and, like, call our team out and, like, do some dumb crap. He should be back next year. Mayock, on the other hand, if the secondary, I think, struggles with those young guys because they've been calling the secondary out all year, then we might see some stuff.
Yeah. And I'm already seeing the hater comment saying no one said they were here they come. I mean, bro, we're not talking about the Super Bowl. We're talking about a playoff spot, for Jesus Christ. Like, come on.
What's up? Fernando Ramirez right there from Sports Illustrated, Chargers beat writer. That's Fernando right there. Up and coming guy in the industry. You guys make sure you guys follow him and Compass on the Beat. They talked to Ian Rappaport. They just had another big interview with Trotter. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. But yeah, Fernando and I go back and forth. It's going to be interesting because if the Chargers are as good as people say and the Raiders are as good as we think they are, it's going to be interesting. I don't expect both of us to go for that number 1 spot. I still think the Chiefs are there. Mm-hmm. But both the Raiders and the Chargers, I think are playoff teams, are on the cusp of playoff teams, as long as everybody stays injury free, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the cuts right now. We'll go through this. Raider fans still happy and lucky in one game against the Chiefs.
And hell yeah, we are.
I'm
still happy.
But they don't know how to cover it. They leave Travis Kelce wide open in the back of the end zone. Like,
oh, my goodness.
Hey, let's leave Travis Kelce wide open in the back of the end zone, and it's Derek Carr's fault. It's Derek Carr's fault.
Yeah, let's blame it all on Carr because he's like everything that's wrong with the Raiders.
Yeah, we're always in it till week 14. All right, guys. So the main thing this week was the 53-man cut down. Here's the roster cut down. Not a lot of surprises on here. Like, you and I were happy at week 1 about the running backs, but after week 2, week 3, they kind of dropped off. So watching them get cut, I was like, okay, yeah, I saw that coming. The only major ones were probably like John Brown, Carl Joseph. John Brown, the wide receiver position, he wasn't getting anything. Once you saw John Brown play in the final preseason game, you're like, okay, something's up with him.
Yeah.
Carl Joseph, we both love Carl Joseph, but he never touched the field. And John Gruden's thing is, if you're not on the field, you're not playing for me.
Yeah.
Same thing with there's one more. What was the other cornerback? Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah Johnson, yes, right there in the middle. He had so much hype and ability around him and went absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. I think obviously you hit it right on the nose, those 3 players, Carl Joseph, Isaiah Johnson, and I'm already forgetting the third one. Put up that list again, Joe. Put up that list. There it goes for John Brown. So John Brown's a receiver. I was shocked that he got cut because he was working out with Carr in the offseason, like early on. And you already expected him to make the roster, but it was surprising that they released him. Carl Joseph, I get. I don't think Carl Joseph won over the defensive coaching side because it's a whole new regime. Same thing with Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah Johnson did some good things in that Charger game last year, but the facts is that we have a whole new defensive staff. They don't give a damn what you did last season. We had a bad defense. Everyone's coming in with a clean slate. It don't matter what you did before this. So not surprising there. One thing that I'm going to piggyback off on is we're talking about Mike Mayock on how he's on the hot seat. One thing to look at, 2 years in a row, second year that we don't have an undrafted free agent that makes the team.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can say like, oh, like undrafted, who are they? I don't care what anyone says, bro. A lot of teams find just great undrafted free agents every year, it seems like, on their team. You look at the Raiders, one that pops out to me is a guy like Jalen Richard. Like, you wind up finding diamonds in the rough, and it winds up helping out your team tremendously. And 2 years in a row, it's kind of concerning that Mike Mayock, a guy who's known to be, a great drafter in the late rounds, hasn't found an undrafted guy that can't even make the team.
Yeah, Mike Mayock is known for his 5th round picks, but I don't know. Maybe that could be the COVID thing too, that we didn't see a lot of football and people are worried about it. And with the last 2 years, especially with the short training camp last year, and then now getting back to normal and some of the rules this year, you're not able to bring players in and develop them like you have been the last couple of years. So I think that might be a little thing. Shakeback Willie, I'm not buying this crap. I'm not buying he got asked to get cut John Brown stuff. John Brown got beat out. John Brown got beat out in camp. There's no way. He asked to get cut came afterwards. Like, that came after the Raiders released him, and then all of a sudden, but they only released him because John Brown asked to be cut.
It's kind of like that Malcolm Butler situation where, like, I think it's obvious that he's going to get cut or released by the Cardinals. And he's like, oh, hey, you guys are not going to cut me. I'm going to retire. Like, let me walk out on my own. It's kind of like the same thing with John Brown. Like, bro, you got cut. You lost your spot to Zay Jones. Zay Jones was balling out, bro. He had his opportunity. He took advantage of it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. Keelan Doss is one of, and he mentioned Keelan Doss too. I think Keelan Doss was one of the most overrated Raiders for the last 2 years, and people fell in love with him because he had one good preseason. Should have just left him in Jacksonville when he went over there and stayed. Remember, he signed with Jacksonville, and then they gave him a lot of money to come back to our practice squad. Should have just let him go. Should have just left him go. Everybody else on this list, I'm not really like some of the young guys I thought we'd hold on to, but they took Willie Snead over some of these other guys like Turner and Stoner.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with all the cuts. I don't know why we keep Lawson talent is overweighing a lot of stuff because I think this is the second year in a row that he's suspended, right? To start the season. We can get into our depth chart right here, guys. If you guys could see this just a little bit, I'm not sure how much you guys can see it, but of course, Derek Carr is our number one guy. Josh Jacobs, Drake, Jalen Richard. I got to pull it up right here because I can't see it. I'm really interested in seeing what they're going to do. I don't think the Raiders are done, to be honest with you. I think they're looking at something on the market right now because you only kept look at the linemen they kept 5, so they kept 9, right? Are we sold on all those guys? Like,
I'm definitely not sold on Brandon Parker. I absolutely hate Brandon Parker. I can't stand him. He gets beat like a drum every game, it seems like.
Yeah. Man, I've been seeing rumors like, hey, Brandon Parker to the Dallas Cowboys for Jalen Smith. I was like, do it. What do you
have
him
here? Have him.
You do that right now. Hey, they want Clean and Farrell. You take that too. And then you got Nick Bowers, who won the third. Okay, so that was another one. Derek Carrier got cut, but that was more of a money route.
I kind of like the fact that they kept Jalen Richard over Trey Regis. I know Trey Regis had a good preseason, like you were saying in the beginning, Joe, but I just trust Jalen Richard. He's just been one of those guys that the Raiders can trust. I can only think about like one play that he like really messed up, like he had a bad drop or something or a fumble. Usually Jalen Richard gets in there and he's really reliable on third down to pick up blitz pickups. Like Carr and Gruden trust Jalen Richard. And I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think he's a guy that like you look for to make like a huge splash play. He's just one of those guys that you can trust on third down and get the job done.
And then our boy Alex Leatherwood. We already knew that was going to happen, but
yeah,
I'm saying this offensive line is not bad, guys. A lot of heat on this offensive line last year. They're gonna make some news.
I think the biggest question mark is obviously Leatherwood. And I think for obvious reasons, it's because he's a rookie. I have confidence in Andre James. Just because you don't know the name, don't assume that the guy sucks. He's been on the Raiders roster for about 2 to 3 years now. And every time he's came in where Rodney or one of the guards get hurt, he does his job. And the Raiders have been doing their homework on this guy. He's been kind of in the shadows of Rodney and kind of learning and preparing for this time that when he's going to start. And Denzel Good has been good for us. No pun intended. But Incognito, he's old, but still solid. Colton Miller, I think people are out of their mind when they disrespect Colton Miller. I think he's a very, very good tackle.
Yeah, people are really harsh on him. And here's the wide receiver position. And you just brought it up. Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, Willie Snead, Zay Jones. 5 guys. We're only keeping 5 wide receivers right now. It's kind of scary for me. Is there a wide receiver on the market that they could probably bring in? Or are they going to try to put a couple of those guys on the practice squad, or they already have probably? Yeah, this is so you can't really say it's a good is good. Good is good.
Yes, sir.
Good. I like it. They should make a shirt like that. Good is good with the Raiders shirt. So those are a couple things that I was looking at. Like I was like, 5 wide receivers. Okay. I understand they're going to use Kenyon Drake in different areas. So, and then basically our tight ends are wide receivers, like Foster Moreau. Like people, if you don't know his name already, get used to it because I've been preaching it all off season. I like Foster Moreau.
Yeah,
Joe is quietly a good wide receiver, not a great wide receiver, but quietly a good wide receiver.
I wanted to ask you something. I've been saying this for the Raiders for ever since Darren Waller has been really good for us. Would you be mad if Darren Waller just played receiver for us and Foster Monroe just slid into the tight end 1 position?
No, not at all.
I would love that.
If they
dude.
just came out and said, "Hey, Waller is now a wide receiver." Like his position is now wide receiver.
I mean, he already kind of is. He got the height, he got the speed. He's already lined up. I think the fact that Gruden wants him like in the slot and off the line just for more mismatch purposes. But Foster Monroe, he was hurt last year. I have really high hopes for Foster Monroe, man. I think he's really good. He's capable of being a tight end 1. It's just because Darren Waller is so good. But move Waller to receiver at times and have some snaps for Foster Monroe.
Over under Waller 105 catches.
Oh man, I would say under just because there's a lot of weapons on this offense.
Yeah, and they built this offense for Carr, and Carr better show up. And I'm a big Carr believer. So, I like you said, we're claiming top 10. Both of us are right here on the same board. Top 10 offense, defense is what we're looking for, and I'm hoping that, and I think, and that's what we're getting to right now. I think we're looking at a top 20 defense, and that's all that I'm asking for. I'm asking for, and that's pretty sad, right? Because we haven't been in the top 25 in defense in 6 years.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's check this out. That right now, this is according to ESPN. They have Clelin Ferrell as a starter. I don't think that is true. I think Max Crosby is a starter.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are hurt. They still have Morrow. We brought in Perryman, which we didn't get to talk about last week, but that's a great trade. I believe if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a top guy. What's your thoughts on this defense right here?
Oh man, it's I think I like the fact that Robertson won that job over Isaiah Johnson. I'm a big fan of him. I like that the Raiders are putting him on the outside rather than slot corner, putting him to his original position. Um, Linebacker, dude, that scares me because Monroe's out. Denzel Perryman's an injury-prone player. He's good. He just has to stay healthy. Um, I'm looking for us to pick up another linebacker on the defensive side. Like I've been hearing all offseason that they've been looking at KJ Wright. I would love KJ Wright to be our starting will linebacker.
Yeah, and because Morrow's right there's a starter. Morrow's hurt, like you said. I'm not sure how much to trust this depth chart from ESPN because they have Nate Hobbs as our third guy, and you know Nate Hobbs, and you already saw him. He's going to be everywhere. But Kevin said that they're still going to lose week 3 to the Dolphins, and he goes, "I like Perryman though. I think Perryman was a big addition to this, especially knowing that he knows the Gus Bradley defense. It's going to be good. Corey Littleton should have a bounce back year. You don't have that much talent, and then just automatically lose it." I'm interested about this defensive line. I am, like you said, worried about the linebacker position because they only kept so many, and I wonder. I know that they want to move some of these other guys to linebacker, like Debo he's listed right now as a safety, but he's more going to be a linebacker. And some of our safeties, you've seen it in the preseason where they're moving them up. I was really surprised. This is one guy I was really surprised that made the team, and that's Teamer.
Yeah, me too. I think another guy that made the team. I don't think he's on this list, but I'm pretty sure Daniel Levitt made the team too. I don't think they're listing him though. I might be wrong, but kind of surprising that Teamer made the squad. Yeah, there he is. I think he's on the special teams. Go a little bit down.
This is the ESPN one, so it's not really the greatest one.
Yeah, but yeah, Teamer he obviously beat out Carl Joseph, so
we do have a kicker. If you see that, Daniel Carlson.
Yeah, something that the Chargers don't have. Just a little friendly reminder for Charger fans out there.
Need to stop the run. Yes, they do. They need to stop the run. They went out there. I don't know. Were you impressed with Gerald McCoy? He played a couple snaps, a couple series against the 49ers. Were you impressed with him?
Well, yeah, I was impressed with him. I mean, he did what he can do. I'm happy for him too. I seen a little Instagram post that he had saying that he was grateful for making a team and stuff. I'm just glad he's not going to be wearing that 61 anymore because it's ugly as hell.
Oh my God.
And he can wear that 91 or 93, which one he picks. So that'll be good for him.
And then he comes out and I saw his tweet where he's like, "I got back out there. My whole body hurts today. But I feel good to be alive." And he goes, "But I feel blessed to be back on the field after, injury." So I don't know. I think our defensive line and defensive unit is going to be a little bit underrated. But come week 1 against the Ravens, we'll break it down next week. We'll break down the whole schedule. We'll break down our predictions. Yeah. But they get a tough test week 1.
As good as it gets.
We get a little bit lucky with J.K. Dobbins going down.
Look, I know it's week 1. I'm gonna for sure going for the Raiders, man, once the game goes on. But I picked for our NFL preview, I have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna win it. Yeah, I that's my prediction. I really do feel like that. I don't think it's that much of a drop off from Gus Edwards to J.K. Dobbins. I really like Gus Edwards. So the Raiders are in for a dogfight. The good thing about it is that it's early in the season. It's week 1. Weird shit happens week 1. And I don't think the Ravens are going to get their stride until late in the season. So hopefully for the Ravens will struggle early in the season. We can get a dub week 1.
There we go. All right, folks, this is it. We went down. We did the 53-man roster. We asked you if John Gruden and Mike Mayock were on the hot seat and how many wins. We broke that down. We even showed you the new mansion that the haircut bowl cut's going to take place in. But this is our Raider show, the Silver and Black Allegiance, every Wednesday here on the Warzone Sports Network. I'm Joe Morley. This is Juan from the Juan Max and Juancast. Guys, go check him out. You got anything else to add today?
Appreciate you, Joe. Make sure to subscribe to the Warzone Sports Network. Like he said, subscribe to the Max and Juan cast, and go Raiders.
Yeah, send this out to all your family and friends who are Raider fans. And if they're not Raider fans and they're Raider haters, send it out to them too, because we'll bring them on too.
Spam up Mike's Instagram. Just any post. It don't matter what's it about. Just say "Go Raiders." Just hashtag Raider Nation, anything like that. Just spam his comment section.
Mike will love that. Mike and Tony just put "Go Raiders" at all times. We'll see you next week, guys. Next week we break down the full, complete schedule. We'll break it down. We'll give you our likes, our dislikes. We didn't get into it today, and I apologize to Juan for that. We'll even give you some fantasy guys that we're looking forward to. And maybe our Raider MVPs. I don't know how much you want to get into that.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna give you everything and anything about the season, because we'll go on Wednesday and the season starts Thursday. Raider Nation, get ready.